Mariah Davida here, Moda Davida MUA, and in today's exclusive video tutorial, I will be showing you guys how to complete your complexion. So I'm going to show you brows and face. So I'm not going to ramble on too long. You guys saw the preview of the before, middle, after picture. So if you want to see how I did my complexion, then please continue, keep on watching. So starting off with freshly washed skin, I'm just going in and using a little bit of alcohol to clean up the excess oils in my brows. I'm going to start off by taking the Got to Be Glued Spiking Gel and the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze. I'm just showing you guys, these are the products I like to run through my brows to lay them flat. And then I'm going to be using the ABH Brow Pomade in the shade Granite along with the brow tool. I start off by taking the brow freeze and placing that through my brow hairs and then layering the brow gel, the Got to Be Glued gel for my brows. I layer that through my hairs on top of each other and then use the back end of the brow tool to flatten the product through my brows to give me that laminated brow effect. Once that's said and done, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the edges of my brow with any excess product that might have went onto my skin. Then I'm going to go in and prime my skin. I'm using the Hylamide HA Blur Primer. This is the first time actually of me using this primer today. This primer is absolutely amazing. It left my skin feeling nice and smooth and really blurred out. I love how my foundation ended up laying on top of this primer. Definitely check it out. I'm also going to go in and color correct as my brows are continuing to dry. And I'm just using the LA Colors Orange Corrector and utilizing this product in any areas where I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation to leave my skin evened out once I apply my foundation on top. So I'm using a fluffy brush to buff out and disperse the product evenly against my skin. Taking my two concealers of choice, which is the XX Revolution and She Glam concealers, I'm going to mix that on the back of my hand and create my shape with my flat brush underneath my brow. So I carve out my shape first before applying any product. Then I buff out the edges down into my lid so that it's a seamless blend. Then once I'm satisfied with the shape, I'm going to start using my brow pomade and creating hair-like strokes to fill in any areas that are sparse in my brow. So for my brow, the end of my brow, like the tail and then a little bit throughout, is a little bit sparse. So I'm just going to go in and fill in where it is needed until I'm satisfied with the outcome of the shape and the opacity of my brow. I then take the Crayon Cases Chalk Dust Powder in the shade R and I press that into the concealer that I laid down earlier so that it doesn't budge, and again everything is seamless and blended. For my foundation mixture of choice today, I actually did this for the first time. I'm using the NARS Soft Matte Foundation and the Morphe Filter Effect Foundation. Match made in heaven, you guys. This combination is so good. I like mixing my foundations because it just creates a beautiful finish sometimes when you mix two different formulas. So I'm taking my beauty sponge that is damp and I'm pouncing that into my skin. I'm using patting motions, not swiping motions. I'm pouncing it into my skin until I am satisfied with the opacity of my foundation. I usually just do one layer and then go in smaller areas if I feel like maybe some of my hyperpigmentation is peeking through. But I'm typically good with just like one layer on my skin. So use that to your discretion. If you like to go in with more layers, you can do so. If you want something that's even lighter, you could do so. But this is what works for me. And I'm not going directly under my eyes because I'm saving that area for my concealer. Once I'm satisfied with my foundation, I'm going to start blending in my concealer. So I'm using the two concealers that I showed earlier to highlight the forehead, nose, Cupid's bow. I go in on the sides of my mouth and chin, and then of course under my eyes. And I use the butt end of the blender to blend that into my skin. Now I'm just going to take the same chalk dust powder and I'm going to first lightly set under my eyes and then go back in with my damp sponge and go into the areas where I tend to get a little bit more oily and blend it into my skin, like press it so that I bake a little bit. Once I'm done with my bake, I'm going to go in with my two powders of choice, which is the Morphe Filter Effect in shade 10 and the RK Kiss Matte Foundation Powder in the shade Mocha. And I'm going to press those powders lightly into my skin and buff away my bake. Now going in with the Inglot Sculpting Powder in the shade 512, I'm going to contour my face. I like to contour the hollows of my cheeks, my jawline, and forehead. And then I go in and buff it out a little bit with the same brush that I use to apply my foundation powder, just so that, again, everything is nice and blended. Once that's said and done, I go in with my foundation powder again and I underline the hollows of my cheeks for the contour. I like using this to chisel out and add more definition. Then I'm going to go ahead and use the Absolute New York Dark Bronzing Powder and bronze up my face, overlapping it on the areas that I contoured except for my jawline. For my blush, I'm using MAC's Sweetest Cocoa. I love that blush. It goes with pretty much every look. It's a really neutral blush, but very, very beautiful. And then I'm going to go in and highlight. My highlighters of choice are from RK by Kiss in the Glow and Bronze Powder in the shade Medium, and then Poshmetics Cosmetics Persian Milk. And I like to highlight the tops of my cheeks and my nose and my Cupid's bow. And this is the completed base routine. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something new with this exclusive tutorial on how to create your perfected base, and I will see you guys in the next one.